In the autumn of 1888, a shadow fell upon the streets of London's East End, a shadow that would become one of the most enduring enigmas in criminal history. This was a time when the East End, with its labyrinthine lanes and alleyways, was a melting pot of diverse cultures, a refuge for the city's poor and destitute. The air was thick with the scent of spices, sweat, and the unspoken desperation of those struggling to make ends meet in the face of overwhelming odds. It was here, amongst the bustling markets and dimly lit taverns, that a sinister presence began to emerge. As the nights grew longer and colder, an unseen terror began to stalk the cobblestone streets. The victims were women alone and vulnerable, their lives brutally cut short under the veil of darkness. Just as the city was beginning to feel the chill of the approaching winter, another chilling presence made itself known. As the leaves turned and the fog rolled in, so began the reign of the entity that would come to be known as Jack the Ripper. Situated in the core of the East End, 5 women faced a savage demise. History recalls these women as the victims of Jack the Ripper: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes and Mary Jane Kelly. You'll know now the faces of tragedy that these women bore, living in one of the most impoverished districts of London during the late 19th century, and each met a cruel and untimely end at the hands of an unknown assailant. Mary Ann Nichols, often known as Polly, is shown first. A woman of 43 when she fell victim to the Ripper, Polly was known for her easy laughter and kind heart, a mother of 5, estranged from her husband and battling to survive in the harsh reality of Victorian London. Our next picture is of Annie Chapman, nicknamed Dark Annie, the Ripper's second victim. At the age of 47, she was found in the backyard of a house on Hanbury Street. A mother, a wife, a woman who, despite her circumstances, found moments of joy in her life. Next, we see Elizabeth Stride, a Swedish immigrant known as Long Liz, the third woman to succumb. Found in Dutfield's Yard at the age of 44, Stride was a woman of resilience, surviving a harsh journey from Sweden to England, only to meet a tragic end. Next up is Catherine Eddowes, Jack the Ripper's 4th victim, known for her vivacious spirit. Found at Mitre Square at the ripe age of 46, her life was abruptly ended. And lastly, we see Mary Jane Kelly, the youngest of the 5. Found in her room at Miller's Court at just 25 years old, Mary Jane was known for her beauty and her dreams of a better life, dreams that were tragically cut short. Their lives were prematurely ended, their names indelibly inscribed in the annals of crime, tethered to the name of their elusive killer. As the city reeled from the brutality, letters began to arrive, purportedly from the killer himself. In the midst of the terror, 2 letters in particular emerged, both allegedly penned by the infamous Jack the Ripper. The first, known as the From Hell letter, arrived in October of 1888. Addressed to George Lusk, leader of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, the letter was delivered with a small box. Inside the box, a chilling sight, half of a preserved human kidney. The writer claimed to have fried and eaten the other half. The horror of this letter was not just in its grisly contents, but in its chilling, almost mocking tone. This was a man who took perverse pleasure in his actions, a man who delighted in the terror he was causing. The second letter, known as the Dear Boss letter, was received by the Central News Agency a month earlier. The tone was similar to the From Hell letter, taunting, boastful, even gleeful. The writer promised more killings, stating that he would clip the lady's ears off next time. He signed off with the now infamous epithet, "Yours truly, Jack the Ripper." The impact of these letters was immediate and profound. Panic surged through the streets of London. Every rustle in the darkness, every unfamiliar face became a potential threat. The letters were published in newspapers, further fanning the flames of fear. Their authenticity remains a topic of hot debate among Ripperologists today. The letters did more than just terrorize the populace. They humanized the killer. He was no longer an unseen monster lurking in the shadows. He was a man who could write letters, a man who could boast and taunt. And this perhaps was the most terrifying revelation of all. Anonymous, cryptic and chilling, these letters deepened the mystery, casting a pallor of fear and fascination that endures to this day. In the face of these harrowing crimes, The lawmen of the time were in a race against an unseen enemy. Metropolitan Police and Scotland Yard, the premier law enforcement agencies of the Victorian era, were confronted with a foe unlike any they had faced before. This was not a simple case of theft or assault. They were hunting a phantom, a killer who moved through the foggy streets of Whitechapel with an eerie stealth and precision. Leading the charge were key figures such as Inspectors Frederick Abberline and Edmund Reed. Abberline, a seasoned detective, was known for his keen eye for detail and unyielding tenacity. He spent countless hours walking the crime scenes, seeking the faintest trace of the Ripper. Yet each clue seemed to lead only to more questions. Edmund Reed, on the other hand, was a man of action. He believed in the power of boots on the ground. He organized extensive patrols and door-to-door inquiries, determined to turn every stone in the district. His approach was to gather as much information as possible, hoping to piece together the puzzle of the Ripper's identity. They used every tool at their disposal, from forensic science, which was in its infancy, to the power of the press, spreading word of the crimes in an attempt to garner public assistance. Yet, the more they delved into the case, the more elusive their quarry became. There were suspects, of course, countless men hauled in for questioning and then released due to lack of evidence. Theories abounded. Was the Ripper a doctor, a butcher, a sailor, or perhaps a member of the upper class? The truth seemed always just out of reach. Despite their best efforts, the lawmen of the time were left grasping at shadows, with Jack the Ripper always one step ahead. It was a game of cat and mouse, a dance in the darkness, and as the weeks turned into months, the chilling reality began to set in. They were not just hunting a killer, they were hunting a ghost. Though the killings ceased as abruptly as they began, the shadow of Jack the Ripper has never truly lifted. The spectre of this unknown assailant continues to haunt the public imagination, making its way into countless books, films, and television series. From graphic novels to rock operas, the Ripper's tale has been retold and reimagined in countless forms, each iteration capturing a new facet of the enduring enigma. The Ripper's story has become a cultural touchstone, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the heart of the city. It's a tale that taps into our deepest fears and fascinations, drawing us back time and again to the fog-shrouded streets of Whitechapel. The identity of Jack the Ripper has been the subject of fervent debate and speculation for over a century. Theories abound, with suspects ranging from the plausible to the downright absurd. Some have pointed the finger at notorious figures of the time, such as the surgeon Sir William Gull or the painter Walter Sickert. Others have concocted elaborate conspiracy theories involving the Freemasons, the royal family, or even a band of homicidal midwives. Yet, despite all the theories and conjectures, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains shrouded in mystery. No definitive evidence has ever been found, and the case has long since gone cold. The Ripper's identity, much like the reasons behind his gruesome spree, is likely to remain unknown. This enduring mystery is part of what continues to draw us to the Ripper's tale. The unanswered questions, the shadowy figure lurking just out of sight, the tantalizing clues left behind. These are the elements that keep us coming back, that keep the Ripper's legacy alive. Over a century later, the name Jack the Ripper still sends a chill down our spines, a testament to the enduring power of this unsolved mystery. As we delve into the darkness of the past, we're reminded once again of the chilling allure of the unknown, of the stories that continue to haunt us, long after the final curtain has fallen. From the foggy streets of Whitechapel to the annals of criminal history, the story of Jack the Ripper continues to captivate and confound us. We have traced the chilling tale of the 5 victims, innocent women whose lives were brutally cut short in the autumn of 1888. We've examined the cryptic letters allegedly penned by the killer himself, each one a disturbing glimpse into a madman's mind. We've followed the investigation, a desperate race against time in a city gripped by fear, ultimately ending in frustrating deadlock. And we have pondered the enduring enigma, the unanswered questions that continue to haunt us more than a century later. Who was Jack the Ripper? Why did he kill? And why was he never caught? As we delve into the darkness of the past, we are reminded that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved, their secrets echoing through the corridors of time. Jack the Ripper, the nameless phantom of the East End, remains one such enigma,